All right, guys, practice test number 2. I hope this helps you some. The first 4 problems are all inequalities. And remember, 2 bars, 2 answers. That's true for all the absolute values. What you got to do first is, all right, number 1, take the 2 to the other side, add. Once you get to this step right here where you have just the absolute value by itself, remember, that's where you do 2 bars, 2 answers. Write what you see right there. And also on the other side, put the -3. I did that because it's and, it was less than. So when you have a less than, you write it like this. You don't need the word. Then the part that's in the middle, you got to get the x by itself, so add 3 everywhere. And you get a 0 and a 6. Draw it on a number line. Don't forget it comes together because it's and. Number 2, so make it a little bigger here. Number 2, again, get the absolute value by itself. So divide by 4 first. Gives you a 4 over here. Once you get here, 2 things. It's greater than, so it's an or, greater than. Also, write what you see. So I wrote this without the absolute value, put the word or, wrote it again, except this time I changed the greater than to less than and changed the positive 4 to -4. And then it's just pretty simple. You add the 7 to both sides, and you get your 2 answers. Let's check out number 3 here. Number 3 has a few more things in it than number 2 did. Still same deal though. You got to get the absolute value by itself. So take this 2, move it over first. Gives you -2, so 6 minus 2 is 4. Then you still have this 2, so divide both sides by 2. Then you get here. Then you get to the point to where you have absolute value by itself. So it's greater than, so it's or. And write what you see. Did that. And also do the opposite over here. Put less than and a negative. And just move the 7. Move the 7 over, and you get your 2 answers. Let's check 4 over here. 4. You got to really watch 4. Move the 5 over. Gives you 20. Then they have that -5 in the front, so you divide both sides by -5. This is where you got to be careful. When you divide by -5, it changes your less than sign right there to a greater than sign right here. You flip that sign, which makes it or again. I thought it was going to be and at first. Ends up being or because it changed to greater right there. And when you get here, write what you see, or write the same thing except put a less than and an opposite sign. And the weird thing about this one is after you move the 3 over, you get this. X is greater than -1, or x is less than 7. And you take the -1. Anytime it's or, you shade it all the way to the arrow. So you take the -1, it's greater than that, shade it to the arrow. 7, shade to the arrow. That means it's all real numbers. Everything works. So watch out for one of those tomorrow. Not sure, but could be. Okay, 5 and 6. The graphing part should be pretty quick here. Just to sketch the graph. So number inside shifts your graph left to right opposite. So I went right 3. The 4 in the front is a vertical stretch, means it's your slope. You go up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. Connect the dots, la la la, you got it. Number 6, same deal. You go right 2, which is here. You go up 3, up to here. The number in the front, it doesn't matter if it's inside or outside. It's your slope or your rate of change. So you rise 2, run 3, rise 2, run 3, and you got it. 7 and 8, still more graphing, same deal, except that now you have the tail domain and range. And don't forget your domain is the same on all of these. Don't miss those tomorrow because this is the same on every single question. This one, there's nothing inside, nothing out here, so you don't shift at all. We're going to start at 0, 0. There's a 2 in the front, that's your slope. Rise 2, run 1, rise 2, run 1. Or your V. Remember, range is your Y. It's how far up and down your graph goes. Go down to up. Your Y coordinate right here is 0, and it goes up forever, so that's what I did there. I put a bracket because it actually touches the 0. Number 8, got to shift right 3 over here. Shift up 1 to right there. There's a 1/2 in the front, so you rise 1, run 2, go up 1 over 2, connect your dots. Domain is left and right forever. The range, remember, down to up, down to up. The Y coordinate right here is 1, and it goes up forever. Put a bracket because it touches the 1. Let me disappear. Number 9, get to work one out for you here. Number 9 is an equation. Remember, 2 bars, 2 answers. Same deal, 2 bars, 2 answers. So what I'm going to do number 9 is move the 2 over first. If I move that 2 over, 8 minus 2 is 6. I get a 6. Now, once you get there and you get the bars by itself, you write 2. You write 3x is 6, and also 3x is -6. Right? Now to solve it, just divide both sides. Divide everything by 3. everything by 3. And you end up with x is 2 right here. And if you divide this one, you get negative 2. Remember, 2 bars, 2 answers, unless it equals a negative. Let's see what the next one has in store. Move the 5 over. If I move that 5 over, trying to, move the 5 over, I get negative 4. And at first I'm like, oh, there might be no solution. Remember, absolute value cannot equal negative, but the negative 2 is in the front. And when you divide by negative 2, what happens is, I don't know why I'm putting plus 6 in there. It's obviously minus 6. Sorry about that. Negative 4 divided by negative 2 is positive 2. Now, once you get the absolute value by itself, which it is now, write what you see. 3x minus 6 is 2. And also write it equaling the opposite of 2, which is negative 2. This is going to take one more step than the last one. If I move that 6 over, I get plus 6, that's 8. Go ahead and let's finish this up. Divide both sides by 3. I would get 8/3 here. Move that 6 over, becomes plus 6. Negative 2 plus 6 is 4. Divide that by 3, you get 4/3. So again, 2 bars, 2 answers. 2 bars, 2 answers. I think 11. Yeah, 11's already worked out for us over here, and it's the best one. If I move the 2 over, 12 minus 2 is 10, which is perfect. Divide by negative 5 next, and what happens is that gives me a negative, and because the absolute value cannot equal negative, it's no solution. There'll probably be one on your test like that tomorrow, so be looking out for that. All right, 12 and 13, already worked out for us. This one, oh, it happened again. Move the 8 over, gives me minus 8, that gives me negative 3. And because I'm going to divide that by the positive 3, it doesn't change the sign, it stays negative. So I get absolute value equals a negative again. So again, no solution. I wouldn't count on there being 2 no solutions tomorrow, but I think for sure there's going to be 1. And probably one like 13 also. Move the 7 over, which means I'm subtracting 7 from both sides. I get 0, so I'm going to divide by 9. 0 divided by 9 is still 0. So now I'm here. Every time you get the absolute value by itself, remember 2 bars, 2 answers, except because it equals 0, there's only 1 answer. So it's just write what you see, move the 2 over, divide by 4, and you get 2/4, which is really 1/2. Okay, once you get to 14, you're going to review stuff. And what you're going to find out about our test every week is that there's always old stuff on there, and I use the same stuff over and over. So if you just learn the problems, you'll be in good shape. This one says translate the graph up to. So I took all the whole graph, moved up to, up to, up to. And remember, the number outside moves it up 2, so you do f of x plus 2. Number 15 says you stretch vertically. Stretching vertically is multiplying the y coordinates because the y-axis goes vertical, goes up and down. So that y coordinate right here is 0. 0 times 2 is still 0, so it stays there. That y coordinate is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, goes there. This y coordinate is 0. 0 times 2 is 0, stays there. And that's your graph. Remember, vertical stretch means the number in the front bigger than 1. So because it says 2, you just put a 2 in the front. That's all you do. 16, reflect across the x. So I took the graph. Remember, reflect, fancy the math word for flip. So I just flipped it over that side to there. That side to there is my v going upside down. A negative in the front is what does that. So make sure you put a negative in front of your f of x. (17) is it even? Remember, even means the y-axis. It's symmetric with the y-axis, or the y-axis cuts it right in half. So what you need to do tomorrow is take whatever equation they give you, punch it in your calculator, and graph it, and see if it's symmetric about the y-axis, or if the y-axis cuts it in half. And if it does, you put yes. If it doesn't, put no. All right, these next 3 or 4 go with the graph here, and I know it's hard to see. We blew that up in class today. Where is it increasing? It's increasing here to here, going up. Increase means it's going up, and also from here to here. So what are those points? That's 0. Remember, use your x's. That's why I wrote this out here. Use your x's. Don't worry about the y's. You'll want to use your y's. Don't do it. It's going up from 0 to 3. That's where the graph's going up, and also from right here, from 13 until it gets there, until it gets to 18. Which means it's got to be going down from between that. So between that is between the 3 and the 13. So that's where it's going down or decreasing. Remember, rate of change means slope. They give you your x's right here. Put those on the bottom and subtract them. I'm doing 10 minus 18. Where these other two numbers came from, I found 10 right here. I went up to see where it matched the 10. It was 1. So I put a 1 above the 10. I found the 18. Went up to see where that was. It was a 3. So you subtract those two on the top. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. 10 minus 18 is negative 8. Reduce it, you get 1/4. Domain and range. Domain is how far left and right. That's your x's. Remember, domain is x. It's going from 0 to 18. It touches both of them, so there's a bracket. Range is how far up and down. And you go down to up, so I found the bottom point right there, which is 0.75. How far up did it go? That's a filled in circle right there, so it goes up to 3. 22 asks you, is it 1-to-1, which means is it an inverse of function? Because it fails the horizontal line test, the answer is no, not 1-to-1. Two more. 23. Take this interval, write it in set notation in the inequality. I put an arrow at the inequality because that's what you ought to do first. This right here tells you what to write. It's all the numbers between 5 and 100. So I put a 5 there, put 100 there, put my inequality symbols, and I put an equals to here because it had a bracket. I didn't put one there because the 5 has a parentheses. And then do set notation, write the same thing again, except put it in brackets or braces, and put the all x such that first. Remember the line, the x with the bar means all x such that. And the last one, 24. 24 inverse, remember take the x and y's and switch them and get the y by itself. So I'm switching the x and the y, like that. And then to get the y by itself, you divide the whole side by 4. Do the whole thing, make sure you do the whole side. And then you're done, except make sure you put the little f negative 1x. And you can check it like this, if you want to take a second. When you started, you had a minus 13. When you ended up, you had a plus 13. When you started, you had 4 times y. When you ended up, you had divided by 4. So everything is the opposite. That will always be true. All right. Hope this helps you some. Please watch whatever problems you need. Be ready. We will take a few questions when you come in tomorrow if you have them, and hope you do well. See you then.